Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. It's fortnightly Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's AOG Porsche Cup time. The next round of the season from Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. And, well, the B-roll might not show it now, but when we get into the live pictures, man, it is a little bit damp out there. This is going to be a very fun round, a tight and technical circuit here in Italy. And it's provided some very good racing on other broadcasts I've been a part of. Looking forward to seeing how the AOG Porsche Cup field handles it. Live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick, it's me, Reese Gardner, with Brady Baldwin alongside me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy is on the buttons, pressing everything behind the scenes and bringing you these pictures on your relevant streaming platforms. Well, Brady, Misano, pretty fun circuit actually. I've driven it plenty, and it's provides plenty of challenges. It's been around since the 1970s, and it's been through quite a few layout changes, including a reversal of the track's direction in its most recent update. But yeah, it's certainly going to provide some interesting problems for the drivers to tackle.
Thank you for the introduction once again, Reese. And yeah, I quite like this circuit personally. I've driven here once in a GT3 car. It was a Mustang when it first came out. Very challenging track, not the easiest. The first sector is very challenging, especially the turn 1-2 chicane's very misleading, can catch you out quite easily. A lot of overtaking opportunities as well here, and a very fast last sector from turn 11 onwards. It's very fast and flowing, so should suit these Porsche Cup cars, but like you touched on, there is a little bit of rain around, so that should spice things up here tonight.
Yeah, certainly should. One thing that really jumps out to me in this circuit is the back section from Tramonto down to Caro from turns 10 to 14. You go through Covone, and those corners are basically flat out, turns 11 and 12 in dry conditions, but in the wet they provide quite a bit more challenge. There's some good overtaking opportunities at turn 4, Rio, Caro of course, and Tramonto, but also Kertia at turn 8, and there might be some moves happening into the final and first corners as well. This track has had plenty of real-life racing added over the years, including World Superbikes, MotoGP, if you're on the bike side of things, and also TCR and GT World Challenge Europe. There's you know, it's basically a who's who of European-based racing that's raced at this circuit over the years. So coming into this round, we've got a couple of things to discuss regarding the last round at Manicourt. After the difficulties that were experienced in the last round, Race Control have decided that the results of last round are null and void. So the championship standings are exactly the same as they were coming into the previous round, with Evolution Racing Team on top, Blackout, OPR and Sonic Motor Racing in P2, DPR Racing a bit further distance back there in P3, but it is on for third in the team's championship rating.
Yeah, sure is. Dynamic Sim Sport, they had a pretty rough last round, but lucky for them, they can wipe that slate clean and go again here tonight. And Orbit Drop Bear rounding out the top 5 there in the team championship. Matthew Bowler, who again had a difficult round 2 weeks ago, will retain the championship lead, 80 points over Dylan Shepherd, Corey Lazarus, the two teammates, second and third. Andrew Dyson, Tyson Broad, rounding out the top 5. We've seen a dominant performance from Job Stewart in the last round. Unfortunately, he won't be in attendance here tonight. I've seen him testing his Super 2 car today at Winton, so he won't be able to make the call here tonight. Pro-Am standings as well, Race is holding up between the top two. Ryan Jones, Simon Misano, only 20 points separating those two.
Yeah, and there was nothing that could separate them last round at Manicourt, but once again, that round basically is null and void, so all of the battling that we saw between them is going to mean absolutely nothing coming into this round. It's basically a reset for everybody in the field. Reasonably close between Stefan Lawrence and Alan Dawson as well for 9th place in Pro-Am. They are equal on 57 points. And finally, in the AM standings, the smallest of our classes here today, we have Adam Jepson still on top. Ben Jeffrey keeping up a Bluebell Racing Team 1-2 in that class. Dean Jacobson and Dan Mirko, as well as Greg Patrick, have had plenty of issues over the course of this season. Hopefully they'll be able to start a run of consistent finishes here at this round. And PJ Whiteman down there in 6th place. So that's going to bring us through exactly how things stand coming into this round. We are in qualifying at the moment, and it's going to be an interesting format once again for tonight. It is a 2-race format, 2 15-lap races, and race 2 will have a reverse top 10. Actually, it's going to be okay, so the graphic is slightly inaccurate there. Race 2 is the same length as race 1, 15 laps there. All good, Jay. Obviously, things have been updated quite a bit on the broadcast side of SimSpeed as of recent. We also have our new website live, simspeed.live, getting worked on as usual, but we have a full archive of all of our broadcasts going all the way back to when we were founded in 2011, and there's going to be some more features coming to that website in the near future. Looking forward to seeing how it's going to turn out. But we are coming to the end now of the Pro-Am and Am qualifying session. The pros are out there at the moment, taking us through the final 10 minutes of qualifying. Currently, it's Robbie Gibbs for Evolution Racing Team on top of the standings, but Ben Peterson putting in a good lap there, getting within 3/10 on a very slippery track.
Yeah, nearly 3/10 there in the top 3, which is pretty wild. The fastest time in practice, which was quite down, was a 1:45.2. Robbie Gibbs has done a 1:42.1, so tad over 3 seconds quicker. So the track is starting to dry out, but we do predict there's going to be a little bit of rain around for race number 1. But lucky for these guys, the track is slowly drying out, and you want to be on track right at the end to try and maximise this track, the track conditions right now, Reese.
Yeah, more running is being done on the track, the more a dry line starts to form, with there being no precipitation falling onto the racetrack at the moment. So you want to be out there now, you want to be running as much as you can to try and clear that wetness off the racetrack and off the racing line. It'll allow you to push a little bit more towards the end. The number 43 of Dylan Shepherd, one of a few cars here that haven't set a time yet, seeing that Tyson Broad, Adam Hughes, Hayden Bell, Stuart Ellis, Lachlan Capel and Harry Lawrence are joining Shepherd with no time on the board thus far. But Shepherd's about to change that as he comes to the start-finish line with Matt Bowler going to provisional pole. Robbie Gibbs immediately takes it back, and Dylan Shepherd's first time is going to put him in 5th as Corey Lazarus has jumped to the top on a 1:41.8. Ryan Bettis to 3rd, Nick Carroll to 5th. The times are absolutely crazy right now.
Yeah, mega lap there from Corey Lazarus. He's nearly 4/10 clear.
That's amazing.
Capel.
Oh, Broad.
And Tyson Broad as well to the top of 40.4. So we're talking about track evolution. These guys have already dropped 2/10 or 2 seconds nearly on Robbie Gibbs' first lap that he did in this session. So times are going down. We're probably going to get into the 39s by the time this session's over, Reese. So this is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, wow. The drivers are really putting the hard yards in, making this track faster. We're still waiting on some potential rain to be coming during the 2 races here tonight, but we're not expecting much rain until 12 p.m. in sim time, as this is a replay of Tyson Broad. And oh, wow, okay, that's a little bit of a botched pass there down into the final sequence of corners. So right after he took provisional pole, that unfortunately happened. So he'll have to get back out there and try and set one more lap here on a track that is getting faster and faster by the second. Let's see what Lachlan Capel can do here to gain those 4/10 that he knows he can grab.
Yeah, it's 1.4 seconds now, Reach, with that Tyson Broad lap that he put down. So these guys are going to find a lot of time. Corey Lazarus coming around the final quarter now. So guys coming around the final corner now. Bowler goes P2, but no one's still in the 140s. And it's still Tyson Broad by 0.8 of a second so far. So a lot of these guys still trying to put another lap down. A few guys going into the pits as well. Harry Lawrence is one of those guys. So Tyson Broad's lap, whatever he done, was an absolute belter. He's still 0.8 clear with only just under 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Broad evidently enjoying these damp conditions. Well, Adam Hughes is the only car on track right now that doesn't have a time on the board. Looks like he's been struggling to get that time down from the start of the pro qualifying session, but entering the final corner now, using as much of the curb as he dares. The curb gets very slippery in these wet conditions, and to the line he will come. A 1 minute 41.0. That's good enough for a provisional front row. Great stuff from Hughes.
Yeah, really good lap there from Hughes. From going no lap to P2 is a really good job. Still 6 tenths off Brewer, which is pretty crazy. And Reese, if you scroll down the timing sheets, the last guy who set a lap time so far is Greg Patrick on a 48.4. You wouldn't think 8 tenths, 8 seconds would cover the whole field, but with these ever-changing conditions, the first group in the AM class, they had quite a wet track, and the drying track now is really suiting these pro drivers, as we only got just under 4 minutes remaining in this session. Robbie Gibbs on screen, trying to find another flying lap here.
Yeah, let's see what Gibbs can do here. Obviously, the contact that we saw there between Broad and Lawrence on the replay was looked at by race control, and they've decided no further action required, as Robbie Gibbs sliding the car through the final corner here as he gets another time on the board, but he'll gain 3 tenths of a second. It won't be quite as much as he would have wanted, but it does grant him 3 spots. Lazarus was on provisional pole just before, and well, he'll try and get that back. Harrison Lillis improving to 8th. Here comes Thomas Hinz to the line. That time is not quite up to the standard that he wants. And Nick Carroll unable to improve on his current lap either. Ben Peterson, meanwhile, all the way down in P16. He's not used to being this far down in an AOG Porsche Cup field. We usually expect him to be fighting consistently in the top 10. Evidently, the wet conditions are not to his liking at the moment, but we'll see what he can do here on what should be one of his final qualifying laps he's gearing up for now.
One thing we usually notice as well, Reece, during these qualifying sessions, we usually see a few Pro-Am guys mixing it in with the pro drivers during the qualifying session. Tonight, we have none of them. The top 18, all 18 pro drivers are all up the front of the field. So quite crazy. There's a lot of different circumstances playing out here tonight. As Ben Peterson, he comes across the line. No time allowed, but he will have time just for one more flying lap.
Indeed he will, through the opening chicane here, and a very interesting sequence of corners. And the dry, you can go almost flat out through turn 3, but you got to be controlling the throttle on the way up to turn 4. Robbie Gibbs getting ready to start one of his final laps here. He ran a bit too far over the curb there. It looks like that lap might be invalidated as a result. So let's see what he can do here with 1 minute and 44 seconds on the clock. That is about how long it takes to do a lap in these conditions. So it is on here for these drivers. Lillis, that's going to be his final time there, 1:42.5. He's not going to improve on 8th spot. Thomas Hinz looking to get a time on the board, and it's a 1:42.0. Again, having trouble matching the time that he set just earlier. And Sam Sproul will improve from 14th to 10th into the 1 minute 41 second bracket, as Tyson Broad will cross the line and go even faster, 1 minute 40.3. But it looks like that, yeah, got an off track on that lap. Well, regardless, he's still 6 tenths of a second in pole, but oh wow. Oh god.
Oh, we're waiting for a race. We're waiting for someone to beat Tyson Broad, but 7 tenths? That's absolutely crazy from Dylan Shepherd. So we'll see. We've only got 50 seconds remaining. We're on board with Ben Peterson here, currently in position number 17. He's coming up to the final corner. Looks like there's no grip whatsoever. We got told from Ryan Jones, who's competing in the Pro-Am series. He came and chat to us, Race. He said there's no grip whatsoever.
Oh.
A 39.3 for Peterson goes to the top. 30 seconds remaining, Reece. Who else is on a flying lap that can potentially jump him? Here comes Adam Hughes, currently in position number 4 on a 41.0. What has he got in store? He has a not allowed time. Is there anyone else potentially? Matthew Boylett has bet 12 seconds remaining. He might be very close, but he looks like he's backing off. He's going to pits. Hayden Veld, I think he's too far back. He's not going to quite make it in time. He's going to be about 5 seconds short. So Ben Peterson at the death steals it with a 39.3 to take pole position here tonight.
Yep, the track was worked. There's a dry line on the track at the moment, and Ben Peterson absolutely nailed it. He has pole position for the first race of the night here at Misano, lining up alongside Dylan Shepherd. In third place will be Tyson Broad, holding that provisional pole for a very long time. Will start alongside Adam Hughes for Blackout OPR. Then we have Matthew Bowler rounding out the top 5, Robbie Gibbs starting alongside him, and then moving to Andrew Dyson for DPR, starting alongside Corey Lazarus. It's been a good qualifying for Blackout OPR and Sonic Motor Racing. Lachlan Capel for ERT in 9th, rounding out the top 10 with Harrison Lillis.
Thomas Hins and Samuel Sproul will share road number 6 here tonight. Aidan Veld and Ryan Bettis will share road number 7, 13th and 14th. 15th and 16th will be Matthew Bullitt and Nick Carroll. Harry Lawrence and Stuart Ellis will share road number 9. And then back to our Pro-Am pole sitter, Simon Mazzomo will start 19th overall, and beside him, Joshua Van Treek.
Jake Santalucia in the 777 will start alongside Jacob Lucas on the 11th row of the grid. Lee Kildulis, a driver that I've not seen yet, starting alongside Dean Jacobson. Race on Oz, locking out the 12th row of the grid. Ben Jeffrey in car 150, starting alongside Adam Jepson. Bluebell Racing Team getting a 1-2 in Pro-Am. And then Dan Mirko will share the 14th row with Greg Patrick. Ryan Jones was unable to set a time in qualifying. That's going to be a huge shame for him, all the way down there in the Pro-Am car, starting alongside the Pro Class car of Connor Nixon to round out our 30-car field, taking to the start. Of course, Dan Yeaman is our race director. Isaac Edwards is our safety car driver. It's very cloudy out there, and there is a big chance of precipitation for the start of this race. I'm looking at the weather radar, and my lord, it is a coming, Brady.
It sure is, Reese. And one thing to note as well, penalty just came through as we're calling out the grid. A pit lane start for car 404, Corey Lazarus, who was scheduled to start position number 8. Towing without permission, which is a no-no in this series. So Corey Lazarus, unfortunately, has to do it the hard way for race number 1 here. But, Jay, if we can we get the radar up on screen? Because I'm looking at it on my end, and Reese, it looks very ominous. Apparently, we cannot get it up. Apologies to everyone, but rain is coming, Reese, so it's going to be very interesting.
Yep, we've got a bank of rain approaching from the south, and it's just about to hit the circuit. So, the rain's going to get very heavy as the race goes on as well. So, all of those excellent times that we saw at the end of qualifying, they're not going to mean anything. It is all about if you can hold on to the grip in the wet conditions. This is going to be an out-and-out sprint race of 15 laps, and both races are going to be that length. Remember that race 2 has an inverted top 10. So you finish 10th place in race 1, you've got pole position for race 2, but depending on the conditions, you might not want to be there.
No, certainly not, Reese, and it's going to be very interesting how all this plays out in race number 1 here, so looking forward to it. It's going to be certainly a massive challenge for all drivers involved, but Ben Peterson, he's got the box seat, starting off pole position, but Dylan Shepherd going to give him a good run for his money, and Dyson Broad from 3rd. Got Robbie Gibbs, Andrew Dyson in the middle of the top 10 as well, as we're still about 50 seconds away from going green, race, so certainly a lot to play out. The drivers will be keeping an eye on that radar all race long. By our mass, I think we're probably about 5, maybe 10 minutes maximum away from this rain band coming through, and 15-lap race. I think maybe 4 or 5 laps in, we're going to get a few raindrops and add some excitement into this race.
Indeed we will, and remember the dry line is carrying over from qualifying as well, so if you're not on the racing line, it might not be the best place to be, and there will be drivers who will potentially be starting the race on the wet tyre here just to be prepared for when the rain comes, but they are going to suffer in the opening laps. We're also getting news of, just as we're about to go green, pit lane start for the number 12 of Matthew Bowler. That's for qualifying impedance with Tyson Broad. So, man, we have got 2 cars not taken to the start here as the revs rise, and the AOG Porsche Cup at Misano is go with a fantastic getaway from Ben Peterson. He absolutely nailed the start there, and he's going to lead by what's close to a country mile as they make their way into turn 1. Tyson Broad under big pressure from Adam Hughes, who takes second place at the second corner, and we've got a spin. Andrew Dyson getting turned around by one of the drop bear cars. I believe it was Lillis that made contact with him there. He's going to have to wait for the field to go around before he gets going again, and the race will continue from there. Good start from Peterson. He is dominating right now as Adam Hughes has a little bit of breathing room over Broad and Gibbs.
Yeah, mega start there for Ben Peterson to get that gap already. It's massive, 1.6 seconds. Look how many guys are on the wet tyre race. So no wonder Ben Peterson and Adam Hughes have pulled away. Gibbs, Broad, Shepherd, Lewis, all on wet tyres. There's 4 guys in the top 10 on the dry tyre. So watch for Thomas Hinds and Nick Carroll to work their way through the field. So a lot of gambling throughout the field here, Reese. A lot of guys on the wets and not too many on the dries. So it's going to be very interesting in the next 4 or 5 laps how it all plays out.
Yeah, starting on the slick, we don't know how wise of a decision that's going to be. Obviously, the wet tyre runners are going to be really overheating their tyres here in the opening laps, but depending on when the rain comes, they're going to have a massive advantage, and the drivers who started on the dries will have to pit for wets depending on how close they are to getting past. I'm sure that Peterson and Hughes are going to be concentrating on just getting as much of a lead as they can so they have a margin to play with if and when the track gets wet. Adam Hughes has just spun out of the final corner and loses second place.
Yeah, big mistake there for Adam Hughes. Unfortunately, there's more spins in the background. Dyson once again.
Dyson and
turned
Patrick.
Around. So Andrew Dyson once again. Dan Mirko also involved. Yeah, Dyson on the recovery after that lap 1 spin. He's not going to be too happy with that whatsoever. Greg Patrick involved. Unfortunately, it's going bad to worse for Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, Greg Patrick raced in VR for a while, but is back to monitor running, and, well, he's going to try and continue on as best he can. Speaking of continuing, how about the battle between Boylett, Broad, and Harrison Lillis as well, transitioning to the outside here as Boylett tries to defend from Nick Carroll, and Thomas Hinds is going to get right amongst it here. Remember, Hinds is on the dry tyre, so he got a massive run there. 2 positions gained in a single corner on Boylett and Broad, and now Hinds will try and get it done on Nick Carroll as well, who joins him on the dry tyre. So yeah, this is Harrison Lillis that we're seeing on the replay here. On board with him as Dyson comes out of the corner, and I hazard a guess that Lillis didn't really do anything wrong there. Dyson was tracking wide, and I don't know. You probably would argue that Lillis could have stayed a bit more to the right there, but it's the first lap. What are you going to do in a situation like that? So race controller decided no further action for that. Jake Santalucia, meanwhile, dry tyre runners starting to run into issues here.
Yeah, Harrison Lewis just put a move on Thomas Hinds and Lewis is on the wet tyre. So are we not seeing any rain that's on the screen?
Oh,
yes,
there it is.
It is.
There it is.
It is. So now all these guys on the slick tyres. Ben Peterson has a 5-second lead. Watch that shrink. It's already down to 4.5 seconds. It's going back up once again, as I say that. But watch for Nick Carroll, Thomas Hinds, Ben Peterson. Watch for them to potentially, or not potentially, definitely go down the order as this rain settles into this race.
Yeah, the gamble might not have paid off. The rain might have come a little bit earlier than the drivers expected. It's only lap 3, and Hinds, you can see, is really struggling to keep the grip up there as he tried to get past Lillis there. Dylan Shepherd now holds on to 4th spot, and Hindsey will get the run on Lillis here. Will try his best to make the move. There's no ABS or traction control in these cars, so it's very difficult to negotiate in wet conditions, but evidently there's still enough grip in that section of the track for the dry tyre to have the advantage. Corey Lazarus, meanwhile, starting from the pits, he's on the dries, and Ryan Bettis on the wets. Let's see what Lazarus can do here. Remember, he's made up a ton of positions here in the first 3 laps. Starting on the dry tyre would have done that for him, but now we are seeing that precipitation, and the big bank of rain is just about here.
Yeah, surprisingly, on this first lap of rain, Ben Peterson has stretched out his lead about 2 seconds, potentially from having potentially warmer tyres with the dryers. I'm not too sure, but it's crazy to see how much of a gap he's pulling out. He's 2.5 seconds on this lap, but surely with more rain coming, it's only going to get worse for him. So Robbie Gibbs, he's probably just hanging back for the moment, waiting for more rain to come in as Peterson does the fast lap of the race, a 38.6, which is 7/10 quicker than what he did in qualifying. So track has a lot of grip right now, but surely that's going to go away in the next lap or two, Reese.
Yeah, I'd say Ben Pedersen's tyres are so hot that they're actually boiling away some of the moisture on the track as he goes over it. This is, I believe, that's it's Lachlan Capel getting involved with the 777 of Jake Santalucia. And that's why we saw Santalucia out in the gravel trap. I'm not sure if that was contact, though.
Yeah, it was very hard to tell if it was netcode or it was actual contact or he just done it on his own. So, unfortunately, we'll have to let that full race control to figure out. As on screen, the 43, Dylan Shepherd, chasing down Harrison Lillis, both guys on the wet tyre. And Ben Pedersen continuing to play at that lead. It is 9.3 seconds on Robbie Gibbs. He's stretched out another 2.3 already on this lap. So, and Nick Carroll's actually into second. He's passed Robbie Gibbs for that second spot. So, the dry tyre is actually still the preferred tyre at the moment on lap number 4 of 15. But we're just waiting for the crossover point, aren't we, Reese?
Yeah, we are. The big bank of rain is now over the southern part of the circuit, which is basically the opening corners. So the drivers will have to be very careful on their way through here. And a little bit of rain starting to touch this part of the circuit as well. To the inside, one of the blackout OBR cars, Adam Hughes, getting it done there on Tyson Broad. He's one of the dry tyre runners. It seems like the dry tyre is still the best tyre to be on. But like you say, Brady, it's the crossover point that we're waiting for. There will be a point in this race where the wet tyre becomes the dominant tyre. And I think for Ben Pedersen's case, he's doing everything right now. He's absolutely maximising his pace. It leads over 10 seconds now. Even if it starts raining and he loses a ton of grip, it won't be easy to get past him.
We're just looking at lap times now as Thomas Hins down the inside of Robbie Gibbs. So that's for position number 3. Dry tyre passing the wet tyre. Robbie Gibbs' last lap was a 41.7. And from what I can say, he's the fastest guy on the wet tyre. Ben Pedersen done a 38.5. So that's how fast he is. It's over 3 seconds a lap quicker at the moment to be on the dry tyres. So potentially he might have big enough of a lead. Once that crossover point comes into play, he might have a big enough lead to hold on for a race victory here. So very, very interesting. We're not even halfway through this race at the moment, but like you touched on, Race, we're coming into the middle of that rain band, so it's only going to get worse for these drivers. And how long can the top 3 and even Adam Hughes and P4, how long can they hold on the dry tyre?
That is the question. Boylett versus Lillis on the way out onto the back stretch. Lillis getting a slightly better exit there. They were banging wheels all the way through the hairpin. Careful. Gently does it. This is trouble here for Boylett and trouble for Lillis as well. If he's blinking like that, Lillis won't know where he is, but he's later on the brakes. And nicely done indeed to stay ahead, as trying up the inside there is Corey Lazarus on the dry tyre. Corey's made his way into the top 10 now. He can't quite get past Matthew Boylett for the time being. Now the track is fully bathed in that light rain. And, well, the drivers will be hoping that the rain stays light, at least those who are on the dry tyres. Here comes the car of Corey Lazarus, the inside there, and past into turn 1. Meanwhile, this is the Pro-Am lead. Jacob Lucas and Joshua Van Treek side by side through the opening corners, and Van Treek just keeps it.
Yeah, fantastic battling here, but for the Pro-Am race lead as well, Jake Santalucia is in there as well as Simon Misano. So there's a four-way battle for the Pro-Am class lead at the moment in this race. All guys, they're split. Jacob Lucas and Mizomo on the wets, Van Treek and Santalucia on the dries, and at least for the Pro-Am guys, it's quite even right now, but it's another story for the Pro class, because Robbie Gibbs is now 15 seconds off the race lead, and still, there's nearly a 3-second gap in lap time between the slicks and the wets at the moment. So, I mean, we're criticising the guys being very possibly silly for going on the dry tyres, but it could prove a masterstroke by the end of the race.
Certainly could, but we're starting to see some spray. There's enough moisture on the track now that water's starting to get thrown up. You see that on the top of the screen there? The battle between the OPR cars of Lazarus and Shepard. Lazarus got past Shepard just a short time ago, but I think the rain is heavy enough now that Lazarus's pace has stalled out, and he might end up losing spots from here.
Remember, Corey Lazarus actually started from the pit lane as well, Reese, so the fact that he's up to position number 6 from the pit lane is absolutely remarkable. So maybe going on the dry tyres for him has been a blessing. Matt Bowler, he started from the pit lane as well, but he's on the wets and he's in 15th. So definitely Corey Lazarus, it's been a massive recovery drive and will certainly put him in good stead for race 2 as well. And we've got to remember as well, Reese, top 10 invert for race number 2.
Yes.
And position number 10 as well, currently held by the 606 of Sam Sproul.
Yep, there he is there, chasing down Matthew Boylett, and Sproul is on the wet tyre as it's on for second overall. Nick Carroll versus Thomas Hinz. These guys are both on the dry tyre, and Hinz is struggling to find grip out there. He's going to try the over-under here on Carroll. I don't know if he's going to have enough momentum for the outside run into the next corner. He's on the brakes nice and late, racing line, bit more grip in dry conditions at least, and he's going to try again with another over-under on the way to the back stretch. He's not quite alongside Carroll, but Nick will have to give him space now through this very treacherous corner. They come together, a slight tap for Hinz, but he will recover it, and easy does it, a little bit of a squeeze. Hinz is going to go for it at the corner, and Carroll will not be able to get past at the hairpin. That was beautifully covered off by the 52.
Yeah, some fantastic racing back half of the circuit race. We'll talk about it pre-race, just how fast and flowing that back sector of the track is, and it just provided some fantastic side-by-side racing. For position number 2 is on the OPR cars around. That's Sproul from 10th. We're just talking about he was holding on to that 10th spot. Now he's around down to P19, so disaster for the 606.
Yeah, big disaster. That's going to promote Hayden Veld in the number 53 into P10. And yeah, some big trouble in the background there. Oh my God, that's what happened to Sproul. He just lost the rear end. And Thomas Hinz has just spun as well. Oh, he just made it into second spot, and unfortunately he's going to fall down to 6th place. Corey Lazarus getting past him there. I think Hinz might have finally found the limit of grip on those wet tyres, but you never know, there might have been contact. He gets over the white line there, and oh yeah, that was definitely contact between himself and Nick Carroll. Hinzy will be none too happy with that.
Yeah, unfortunately for those guys who were pretty comfortable second and third, unfortunately for Thomas Hinz, he's way down the order. It's going to be very hard. He's actually position number 6, so he's probably not as far as what I thought he would be. Potentially can get back into the top 5 if he can catch Robbie Gibbs, who, we'll touch on him again, 20 seconds off the race lead. So still, the dry tyre is the tyre to be on. Ben Peterson, his last lap was a 140.4. Last lap for Robbie Gibbs, a 42.8. So still over 2 seconds lap. But look at this battle on screen, Reese. How can you keep up? This is remarkable.
Yeah, this pack is crazy. Joshua Van Treek, our Pro-Am leader, is right in the midst of this, and the 777 of Jake Santalucia is not too far behind. In fact, Jake's going to try on Lachlan Capel here, who's had a warning for an unsafe rejoin. We saw flash up on screen recently. Santalucia will have to back out here. He's not going to be able to make the move. And looks like Capel and Santalucia, that incident between them has been deemed no further action. They are back together now in this insane pack for 8th spot. This is absolutely insane. Van Treek could get past Broad for the last position in the top 10 and race 2 pole position. In fact, I think he's going to go for it here. That was a poor exit for Broad from the final corner. He might get pincer moved by Harry Lawrence and Joshua Van Treek. 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, no room for Harry Lawrence on the inside, though. He recovers it, makes contact. Oh, and bumps Santalucia off as he tried to recover.
Lawrence.
Yeah, oh dear, Harry Lawrence going off as well. That's such a shame there for those guys. It looked like Harrison Lillis was right in the midst of that as well, just struggling to find space on the track. Up the inside goes Hayden Veld, passes Matthew Boylett for 8th spot, and all that promotes Van Treek into 10th, and he's going to try and go for 9th.
Van Treek on the slick tyre as well, and also a Pro-Am driver, giving it to these pro guys well inside the top 10 now, going for position number 9 on Matthew Baller for Dynamic Sim Sport. Gets the move done. Joshua Van Treek on the move. What a drive so far. And on screen, this is a replay. Robbie Gibbs and Corey Lazarus, I believe, in the 404. Gibbs still on the wet tyre. Will lose another spot to Corey Lazarus on the dry. So, again, Reece, I'm astounded that the dry tyre has been the best tyre in this race.
Yeah, me too. It's actually lasted a lot longer than I expected. I think we're just approaching the crossover point now. I've seen Van Treek trying to work his way through that pack. He is clearly faster than everyone around him for P8, but yeah, it just seems like he's not able to get the big advantage that he wants. Replay, meanwhile, thanks to Bowler Media of Andrew Dyson, sliding a bit wide, and that's off the racing line. Obviously a lot more moisture build up on the outside there, as into the pits is coming Harrison Lillis, obviously gathering a lot of damage. Sorry, that's Jake Santa Lucia. My apologies. Got the cars confused there. And it was an incident limit black flag for Santa Lucia. I mean, he's been in the wall, and he's been off track plenty of times as well. So unfortunate there for him. Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing quite a few drivers being at or near the incident limit in this race. Speaking of Lillis, he's still in 13th place and chasing down Bowler and Broad there.
Oh,
10th. Oh, well, that's going to be a position for Lillis as Broad spins. I don't know if contact was involved there, but in amongst all of this, Matthew Boylett now occupies 10th place and pole position for race 2. Simon Mizomo's been steadily working his way up as well, and man, what a fight it's been. Yeah, all the way through this field. There's battles wherever you look. Boylett backs off early. Matthew Bowler getting it done there. He's one of the drivers running on the wet, and he's going to try and chase down Hayden Veld and Joshua Van Treek, but with 5 laps to go, don't know if he'll be able to make up that time.
I think this is the biggest field spread we've had all season. Race we've seen a lot of tight racing, but the gaps between all positions absolutely crazy. Ben Peterson, 16 seconds in front of Nick Carroll. Nick Carroll has driven from 16th to 2nd. I don't think we've really seen anyone drive up from the middle of the field up onto the podium so far this season. Corey Lazarus, mind you, he's nearly on the podium from a pit lane start. And Robbie Gibbs, the leader of the guys on the wet tyres, 28 seconds off the lead. I'm nearly speechless, race. This is absolutely crazy. Some fantastic racing mixed in, but man, I'm still so surprised that the dry tyres held up. But completely different for race number 2, but we've still got 5 laps to go here in this one.
Yeah, should have started on the dries, is what some people are going to be saying. But honestly, with the weather predictions, you never quite know exactly what the circumstances are going to be like on track. So, yeah, seems to be a bit of a masterstroke from our top 5, plus, of course, Van Treek and Harry Lawrence. Also Andrew Dyson, who, despite his issues, is still running in P16. He's got a lot of time to make up, though. Looking at the pace, actually looks like the dry tyre runners are still quicker on a measure of seconds than the wet tyre runners. Peterson was just the quickest car on track at the moment with a 1 minute 40.0. Compare that to the last lap from our top wet runner, Robert Gibbs, 143.4 on the last lap. So, yes, the dry tyres are holding on magnificently.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it, racing on board with Tyson Broad in the 27 down at turn number 8.
No.
Loses the rear end. He does foot on the brake, keeps the car square and straight, apologies, and keeps on going. Unfortunately lost a couple of spots there, and after a very promising qualifying performance, Tyson Broad outside the top 20 now, so you're a little bit disappointed with that. As now on screen we've got a battle here between Matthew Boylett and Harry Lawrence. This for 11th on the road. Lawrence down the inside, big move, gets the job done, and also race control coming in, a redress between Lachlan Capel and Harrison Lillis as well for some early contact. And Tyson Broad, he's coming to the pit lane and no penalty for him, so potentially retiring with damage because he doesn't have a black flag for incident limit.
Maybe he's looking to change tyres, who knows? Maybe he's thinking, the dry tyres are still good, but with only four laps to go, I'm not too sure what the deal is there with Tyson Broad. Maybe he did pick up damage, maybe he underfueled the car, potentially. We're not quite sure, but we'll see with... Now, Van Treek up into 7th spot. He's only got Robbie Gibbs to pass, and he'll have made his way into the top 6 on the dry tyres. We can't really say any more about that than we already have. The dry tyres have been magnificent in this race, and we were not expecting that. Thomas Hinz still holding on to a top 5 despite his earlier spin there, and he might stand a chance of catching up to Corey Lazarus and Adam Hughes as Hinzy 1 minute 40.6. Well, that's about 5/10 slower than what Lazarus set in 3rd, but these two are going to prove some tough customers to pass for Hinzy.
There's some fantastic racing currently going on for 9th, 10th and 11th race between Hayden Veld, Harry Lawrence and Matthew Bowler. Harry Lawrence just got the move done on Matthew Bowler for position number 10. He's now coming after Hayden Veld for position number 9. A little bit of contact down the front straight. Harry Lawrence will get the move done. This dry tyre still proving to be the best one because he's passed 2 of those guys in the last couple of corners. Now Hayden Veld will occupy that 10th spot and potential pole for the next race, and he's got his teammate hot on his heels, so it's going to be a very interesting battle for the last 3 laps between the 2 teammates, Veld and Bowler.
Yeah, certainly could be interesting between those ERT teammates. The fight is still on here with, it looks like Andrew Dyson with another spin there. Yeah, that's such a shame. Where was he? He was down in 16th place, and he was almost caught up to Misano and company as Lillis will make his way past Boylett for 12th place, and Matthew Bowler passes Hayden Veld for 10th. So he now holds the coveted race 2 pole position. Will he be able to hold on to it? They're both running on the wet tyre, and they look like they have a good advantage. See how much ground Harry Lawrence has made up on Dylan Shepherd. That's an insane run from Lawrence in these final laps. If you're interested in what's happened to Tyson Broad, well, he hasn't re-emerged from the pits, so I get the feeling he might have just decided to call it a day for that race. Hopefully he'll be back for race 2.
Yeah, hopefully. And Matthew Bowler, he's got the move done on his teammate Hayden Veld for that all-important 10th position and the chance to start on pole for the next race. So 2 laps to go this time by for these two, but 50 seconds up the road is the race leader, Ben Peterson. This nearly 20-second lead. It's just over 18 seconds, Ben Peterson. Absolute class display. But I've got to give Corey Lazarus his flowers too. From the pit lane up into position number 3, and he's not too far away from his teammate Nick Carroll in 2nd either. So big shout out to Corey Lazarus in the 404 as well as Matthew Bowler, who also come from the pit lane start and is into the top 10. So some mega drives in this race so far.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to behold. Ben Peterson about to get the white flag here, and he's still running times about 3 seconds faster than the wet tyre runners. Evidently it was the best decision to start on the slick tyre in this first race. White flag is out. There's Barney and his mate there. 2 white flags being flown, interestingly. Have they cloned Barney? I'm not too sure. In any case, Ben Peterson, all he has to do is just drive a nice sedate lap, and he'll be able to take a dominant victory here in the first race. It all started with that end of qualifying, the incredible lap from Peterson there on the dry line at the end of the session. It's still on here for 12th spot. Lachlan Capel and Harrison Lillis being chased down by Matthew Boylett. All of these guys on the wet tyre at the moment, and this is one of the closest battles on track right now. Adam Hughes will fall under pressure from Thomas Hinz as well on the final lap too. So we've still got a few battles to work out here. Boylett had a great run for Dynamic Sim Sports here, and look at that, we got the radar up on screen. Not going to be quite enough time for the big heavy dump of rain to come, but Man, it's certainly still resulted in some really interesting drives all throughout this field, none least Ben Peterson. The Full Send Motorsports 669 is even coming around to lap Dean Jacobson and Greg Patrick at the end of the final lap. He won't quite get up to them, but you see that the grip is starting to fall off there. Fortunately, Peterson is so far in the lead, he doesn't have to worry. One more corner to go, and I think this is probably one of the finest drives I've ever seen in the AOG Porsche Cup. Out of the final turn comes Ben Peterson. Bit of a spin there for Ryan Bettis right at the end, but across the line, Ben Peterson is your winner of race 1, and he's going to finish some 19 seconds ahead of Nick Carroll. It's still on between Corey Lazarus, Adam Hughes, and Thomas Hinz. Can Hinzy make any moves in the final couple of corners? Is there enough grip for them to get to the finish? It's a drag race. There's Carroll getting second. Lazarus is going to get 2 cars on the podium for OPR, and Hughes will just beat Hinz to the line. Here comes our Pro-Am leader, Joshua Van Trieg. He started on the dry tyres as well, and he made his way up from 20th place, and he's going to finish P7 overall. That is just incredible.
Yeah, massive drive for Joshua Van Trieg, plus 13, also as a Pro-Am driver in 7th. There's awesome job. Harry Lawrence there in 8th. We missed Robbie Gibbs. He was in 6th, the lead driver on the wets. And Ben Jeffrey, believe he is the class leader for the AM categories. Harrison Lillis has a big off at the last corner. He's going to lose a few spots at the end. Matthew Bowler, importantly, will finish 10th. So he'll have pole for race number 2, but Ben Jeffrey, 20th overall, he's plus 5 in the field. He'll take a pretty convincing win over Adam Jepson there for the M class victory race. What a wild and crazy race. Some fantastic battling there in amongst the field, and Ben Peterson was absolutely dominant in that first race.
Yeah, he certainly was. Greg Patrick is going to be the last car to cross the line, and man, he suffered plenty of dramas in this race, didn't he, Greg? But he will complete the full race distance. I mean, you can tell that he's a bit disappointed with how things went for him, but hey, in a race that wild, getting to the finish is an achievement in and of itself. So now the results are official. We can congratulate Ben Peterson on his win in race 1, with Nick Carroll and Corey Lazarus rounding out the podium. Hughes and Hinz round out the top 5. Robbie Gibbs, the first of the wet tyre runners, 6th place. Van Trieg winning the Pro-Am class and finishing in 7th overall. Then it was Lawrence, Shepherd and Bowler. Flip all of those drivers, and that is your top 10 for race 2.
Hayden Veldon, Lachlan Capel, the 2 ERT cars, 11th and 12th. Dyson recovered to 13th after all the chaos he was involved in race number 1. Good recovery for him. Boylett and Lewis ran out the top 15. Mizomo and Jones were out at the podium for Pro-Am. Samuel Sproul 18th, Jacob Lucas 19th, Ben Jeffrey 20th, and also taking out the M class win. Adam Jepson next on track, 2nd in the M class. Jake Santa Lucia, Lee Caladonis, Stuart Ellis, Dean Jacobson 3rd for the AM class. Greg Patrick, the last car on the lead lap. Ryan Bettis and Dan Mirko 1 lap down. Fortunately, retirement for Tyson Broad, and Connor Nixon did not make the start. So hopefully we've got 29 drivers in for race number 2. And race, a little bit more rain now. It's getting heavier, and it's going to be very, very exciting race number 2.
Absolutely is. We're going to step aside for a moment here on SimSpeed TV. You're watching round 4 of the AOG Porsche Cup. Oh boy, it's going to get rainy. You're watching the AOG Porsche Cup Season 9 Round 4 here on SimSpeed TV. It is time to go through the top 10 here. Matt Bowler, after finishing 10th, will start on pole position for race 2 alongside Dylan Shepherd. On the second row, it's going to be Harry Lawrence and Joshua Van Trieg. Behind them, rounding out the top 6, Robbie Gibbs and Thomas Hinz, with Adam Hughes, Corey Lazarus, Nick Carroll and Ben Peterson rounding out our top 10. From there on back, it's where they finished in race 1. Man, this is going to be a tough time for all, Brady. The rain is here, and everyone is going to be starting on the wet tyres, I'm sure.
I think you'd be pretty silly not to be on the wet tyre for this race. It is pelting down at the moment here in Italy, the Misano World Circuit. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Matthew Bowler of pole position, very capable driver off the front. Some very quick guys in this top 10. Obviously, Ben Peterson, so dominant in race number 1. We'll definitely have to watch out for him coming off position number 10. Obviously, the points accumulated between race 1 and race 2 will decide the round winner. So, it'll be very interesting to see who our round winner is after this one, after a very mix-up race number 1.
Oh, indeed it will. This is going to be a fantastic race. We hope that you're comfortable and you have a snack and a drink. I almost said a sink and a drac to accompany you through this race as the field files onto the grid. Matthew Bowler has it all to play for. The question is, will he have the pace on the wet tyre in these conditions? We'll see who is able to tackle this very greasy, very moist Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. As I'm looking down the grid and there are puddles forming in the racetrack. So we are going to have pretty manic first lap here. Can Ventry get onto the overall podium there in the bright green car? We'll have to wait and see as the revs rise. Standing start in wet conditions is going to be tough. And they are away. Slightly better run there from Dylan Shepherd, which turns into a massive run. He's immediately going to go for the lead coming into the first turn. Bowler covering off Harry Lawrence. Is steaming around the outside is Robbie Gibbs. He's spent a whole race already on the wet tyres and he is looking comfortable, but he locks up a little bit. That's slightly uncomfortable for the number 2. And man, it's a difficult start for Harry Lawrence. Ben Peterson, the race 1 winner, already up to 5th spot. He got a mammoth getaway.
I was just about to call it, race. Ben Peterson on the move early. We're up to position number 5, looking for 4th. Around the outside of Harry Lawrence. Gets the move done. Ben Peterson is on the move. He wants to win this round here at Misano. He's already up to 4th. What a first lap for Ben Peterson.
Yeah, this is incredible stuff. I mean, we saw his pace on the slick tyre in the wet. I mean, if he was able to continue like that, then how's he going to be in full wet conditions? We'll see what Adam Hughes has to say about that, though. Trying around the outside, putting Harry Lawrence back down to 6th. It's been a good start from Bowler, Shepherd and Gibbs, and now Peterson looks to be passed by Hughes, who, out of nowhere, it seems, has gotten some magnificent pace here on the first lap.
Yeah, some fantastic pace throughout a few guys in the first sequence of corners, and just pick up a little bit of melee towards the back. Chris might have to pick up a replay of that when we can, but Matthew Bowler has re-overtaken Dylan Shepherd for the race lead. We'll go to our Bowler media replay of lap 1, turn 1, and 3-4 wide action in the wet is not a good recipe here tonight, Reese.
Yeah, oh no, that's Ryan Jones that got turned around by one of the dynamic cars. And, well, I mean, if Ryan Jones didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all, honestly. He's really fast, but he just struggles for those good results. Just seems to get cleaned up more often than not. Well, hopefully he'll be able to recover. It was a good drive from him in race 1. So let's see what Van Treek can do to hold on here. He's fallen all the way down to 15th spot. He's had a very rough first couple of laps, and Simon Mazzomo's right there with him as well. Let's see what Mazzomo can do. Finds a bit of room up the inside there, very close between Van Treek and one of the drop bear cars. If he'd spun around, we would have known who he was. But let's see what Mazzomo can do to turn his way through here. Looks like it's Lillis in the number 50 that Mazzomo's trying to get past here. Have a look at the battling ahead as well. Thomas Hins, he's fallen all the way back to 14th place, trying desperately to get back past Sam Sproul, but he's going to have to deal with Lillis and Mazzomo pretty soon.
Yeah, there was contact with Thomas Hins. It was one of the blackout OBR cars. There's a few of them, so I couldn't quite pick up who it was, but there was contact at turn number 2 between Hins and one of the blackout cars, and ran him a little bit wide, and that's what caused him to lose a few spots. I believe it might have been Nick Carroll. It was Nick Carroll, we just got told, and there's so much going on, race, and still down the inside there is Corey Lazarus, is it?
Peterson was going off very wide there. Evidently struggling a little bit off the line there as he's trying to find his way back past Adam Hughes. This happened just a few moments ago. Thomas Hins at the head of the train here, but getting bumped wide there by by Nick Carroll, sorry. Nick Carroll, who had that magnificent drive up to second spot in race 1. Now back to the position he started this race in 9th, and it looks like the redress has just been ordered for Nick Carroll, so he's going to have to let Thomas Hinz back by there. That's going to lose him 5 positions plus at this rate.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's going to drop back to the mid-teens. Unfortunately for Nick Carroll's going to put an end to a potential really good night, but at least he's going to do the right thing, let Thomas Hinz back by, continue on racing. Still a long way to go in this race, and unfortunately, it's Misano into Thomas Hinz.
Oh, turns him around the right way, though.
He does, but unfortunately, that's more time lost for Thomas Hinz, and it's still going.
Misano and looks like Ben Jeffrey, I think, that turned him around there. Oh, dear. Yeah, okay, Stuart Ellis. Oh, dear. Getting into Thomas Hinz there. Ouch. That's a big ouchie there. That's the reason why Misano and Hinz came together. It doesn't look like there was much intention behind that, though. And things just got worse for the 954 from there. Stuart Ellis getting around the outside there in the dynamic car. So, plenty of drama in these first 3 laps of the race, but Matthew Bowler still holding on to the lead here over Dylan Shepherd. It's only down to 6/10, but Bowler has been able to set some good times at the moment. But I've just noticed something interesting here, Brady. This is Santa Lucia with a bit of a problem, I think, at the first corner. Just too deep, and oh, wow, gets right into it, and fortunately avoids getting into any other cars, but I think the car he hit wouldn't be too happy. I'm looking at the best lap times for drivers on my timing screen. It seems like less than a quarter of the field has actually set a valid best lap time. Look at that. Every other driver has gotten off tracks on their fastest laps.
Yeah, so we're on lap 3 now, about to finish lap 3, so a lot of guys not setting clean laps, so we could enter the territory at the back end of this race where he'll be using those off tracks. You've got 20x to use up in this race. Obviously, some contacts can be up to 4, but primarily 1x for an off track, so might be using them up towards the end of the race. It'll be very interesting.
This looked a bit interesting as well. Looks like that's Stuart Ellis there and Tyson Broad. Unfortunately, Tyson losing traction, and that was a massive crash. Thankfully, no one else involved, but that's heavy damage for the number 27. And Tyson Broad's dramas just continue. It's been a horrible night for him.
Yeah, it certainly has after a very promising qualifying. Unfortunately, gone bad to worse since then, and he's got some massive damage. I would assume he'll pull it into the pits as one of the OPR cars has gone offline there, Reese. That looked a little bit odd, didn't it? Yeah,
well, it's Lee Kildulis in one of his first starts here in the AOG Porsche Cup, and oh dear, that's Sproul in the 606. He stopped. He's not moving. This might be a safety car. Looks like Corey Lazarus has also had a problem. He's fallen way down the order in the 404. Man, OPR not having a great time at the moment. Dylan Shepherd's still running in second, but man, this is not going well for the other cars of the team. What happened here? So, bit of a slide there for it. Looked like that's the number 5 there of Lee Kildulis. And then big damage for the 606 of Sam Sproul. He could not control the car. The linkage broken on the front right. Now, the question is, will he be allowed to tow back to the pits and have us stay here? There's stay green. Problems for Harrison Lillis. And I'm still waiting for confirmation from race control. Might see a safety car if they can't get Sproul off the track. Yep, there it is. Safety car has been called by race control just as Matthew Bowler sets a new fastest lap of the race. So this is going to compress the entire field together. Usually, in dry conditions, we think, we're rubbing our hands together with glee. We're going to get some good racing, but it's wet. So that means the potential for chaos has just increased tenfold.
Yes, certainly. In a safety car restart in pouring down rain. Certainly going to be very interesting, but Matthew Bowler, he's doing all the right things out in front. Fortunately, that 3-second lead that he's built up will be vanished once he catches up to the safety car, who is sitting at the end of the pit lane, Isaac Edwards, aboard the McLaren GT4. awaiting the leader, Matthew Bowler, to come around, and we'll pick him up. It looks like Bowler's around turn 9-10 at the moment. Yes, he is. So he's coming down the back straight. So still probably another 30 seconds away, maybe 40 seconds in the wet conditions to get to the start-finish line. This will be the end of lap 5. I assume we'll probably be 2 laps behind the safety car. So we'll have potentially 7 to 8 laps to end this race. Lap time's a lot slower than race 1 as well, Reese. Nearly 10 seconds a lap slower. This is on board Ben Jeffrey, it looks like. So this is it's Adam Jepson, apologies. This is the contact that took Sprelli over. Nice crossover. Unfortunately, Cordelis just gets on the curb, goes left, and unfortunately rips the right front out of Samuel Sprelli. So you can see the sparks for where the suspension is dragging on the ground. Unfortunately, that'll be Samuel Sprelli's race and night done.
Yeah, big shame for Samuel. You know, he definitely had some tough goings over the course of race 1 and through the first part of race 2. There's the view in the real world from Isaac Edwards. 3 monitors sitting on his desk. That's a very old school triple screen setup that he's got there. I remember when that was the norm. Now most people on triples are driving in rigs, but this is the first time that the safety cars emerged onto the circuit, and I think Isaac will be grateful that his duty is to drive slow and compress the field, because if he tried driving at speed in that McLaren, I think we might see some IndyCar safety car action.
Yeah, very well. Could be. It could be F1 style, and then the tyre barrier from the weekend on Monza as well.
True.
So we ideally don't want that for Isaac Edwards, and wouldn't be really good at all. So still picking up. It looks like Sproul is now back in the pit lane. So hopefully, once this field compresses, still got a while to go. Thomas Hinds has come to the lane, potentially to fix some damage from all the contact that he had for the last couple of laps. Lillis, Mirko, and Santa Lucia just coming through turn 2 and 3 at the moment. So still got a while, so I don't think we'll be going green this time by race. I think we'll do one more lap behind the safety car, get all the field together, compress it, and we'll get racing probably at the end of lap number 7 here.
Yeah, I don't think we're in much danger of the race going time certain from here. There is a time limit of 35 minutes, but if we get another safety car, God forbid, we might stand a chance of running to that 35-minute limit. So things should compress nicely from here, and this will give a second chance to many of the drivers that have lost positions here. Harry Lawrence in 7th is down 4 spots from where he started. The likes of Nick Carroll, Corey Lazarus and Joshua Van Treek in 11th, 12th and 13th, they've got a chance here to make their way up. But I think this also is a big benefit for Ben Peterson. He's made his way up to 4th spot, and most of those positions he gained in the first few corners of lap 1. So another restart might give him a chance here to get back onto the podium places and have an almost perfect night here.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I mean, if my math's right, he's going to be well clear for the round victory here, Ben Peterson. Obviously, race number 1 win, and currently position number 4 on the road. So a lot of the guys that he was battling, well, not really battling, but were behind him in race number 1. Nick Carroll, who finished 2nd in race number 1, he's currently 11th. Corey Lazarus, who finished 3rd in race 1, down in position number 12. So Ben Peterson, all really he needs to do for the round victory is pretty much just stay put where he is, but he's a racer at heart, and I'm sure he'll want to get on the podium or even better in this second race. And looks like the safety car potentially could be pulling away from the field in just a moment, race, and it looks like slowly it is. And the lights are out. No, they are not. So it's going to go one more lap. I thought we might have been starting this lap, but it'll be one more lap on the safety car race.
Yeah, final corner there, and well, oh dear, you see that approaching from the bottom of the weather radar. I think that might be a bit too far away to have any real effect on the race, but still, the rain is relentless, and it is going to continue for quite some time. We seem to have hit a bit of a patch of calm when it comes to the rain, but it's going to come back in force by the time they get restarted.
Yeah, it certainly is, and like you touched on, it's stopped actually raining, but the track is still super wet, and it's not really going to change a whole heap for this race. The track might dry out a little bit and lap times might drop, but I certainly don't think we're going to be changing tyres at the end of the race or anything like that. Still going to be a very wet race, still a lot of puddles out on track as well, Reese. So still going to be very hairy for these drivers in the remaining laps in this race.
Yeah, view on board briefly from Dan Mirko there, and you see how far down Thomas Hinz has fallen in this race. It's been a rough time for Hinzy as well. Corey Lazarus, meanwhile, looking for some redemption here up behind Nick Carroll and Andrew Dyson, who himself is looking for something better from the dramas he suffered in the first race. Well, Andrew's up 3 spots here. Maybe he'll be able to make it 3 or more up further before the race finally ends. But looks like the rain is about to come back, and well, we're seeing some drivers weaving here to keep some heat in these tyres, but I would argue that we usually see that weaving under formation laps and rolling starts doesn't really do much in iRacing for tyre temperature. But I think if you're riding the brakes and if you're accelerating and braking, you'll be getting some more heat into those tyres, and that's incredibly important when the track is this cold. It is 19 degrees on the track surface right now. That's a degree cooler than the air temperature.
Yes, pretty crazy how obviously cold the track is. Obviously with the weather and the rain, it's not helping whatsoever. Not a lot of grip around this track. I've been finding more and more from my teammates, not so me, I haven't been doing too much rain racing, but a lot of tracks have been very grip limited in the wet, no matter what cars they've been, either the Porsche Cup tonight or open wheels and stuff like that. So the rain's definitely very challenging, and got a brand new iRacing build coming out on tomorrow night, I believe, Reese, and some more rain updates coming in there. So hopefully whenever we have our next rain round in the AOG Porsche Cup, can have some even more crazy weather and a lot more fantastic racing, as the safety car pulls away now, and Matthew Barr will be ready to lead us away in just a moment.
Yep, indeed he will. All right, in comes Isaac Edwards, and, well, we'll get this race going once again. I think Isaac will be very grateful to get back out of those wet conditions here on the circuit. When does Matthew Bowler decide to put the power down here? Up goes the spray, up goes the speed, and we are racing again in the AOG Porsche Cup. A big defense going on from Dylan Shepherd. Robbie Gibbs looking to make the move at turn 1, up into second spot, but can he make it past? He is struggling for grip as Gibbs, and Shepherd's going to fight him. A little bit of a tap, and Ben Peterson is going to take advantage of this and try and slide up the inside of Shepherd, but he's going to back out of it for now. Now he's in trouble versus Adam Hughes as the rest of the field gets off to a pretty clean start. Simon Misano has gotten past Greg Patrick for 18th overall. Hayden Veld passes Harry Lawrence, and wow, well, I'm getting vibes from the middle of race 1 here with how crazy this pack is. Oh, off the track goes Ben Peterson, as well as the OPR car of Dylan Shepherd, and that's going to promote the 22 of Adam Hughes into 3rd place.
Yeah, Adam Hughes now into 3rd, and Dylan Shepherd back into 5th, 6th, potentially even 7th now with Hayden Veld down the inside. So it's been an absolutely terrible restart for Dylan Shepherd. He restarted 2nd, and now he's battling for position number 6 with Hayden Veld. So very poor restart for Dylan Shepherd. Peterson down the inside, loses the rear end a little bit. Gibbs runs wide there at the exit of turn number 9. Matthew Bowler out in front is pulling away, but now Adam Hughes right on the rear bumper of Robbie Gibbs, right under his gearbox. 3 wide into turn number 11. Races absolutely crazy racing up front.
Yeah, Andrew Dyson having to back out of that one as Hayden Veld almost came together with Matthew Boylett there. Got Harry Lawrence up ahead of them. This battle for 2nd is going off, and Matthew Bowler is saying, run away! His lead is now out to 2.5 seconds at the end of this first green flag lap on this run. There goes Peterson past Hughes. He's up into third place now, and Hayden Veld trying up the inside of Lawrence there at the final corner. Not going to get it done, but Lawrence gets on the curb and on the white line. Bit of slip there. The rear wheel spun up, and Veld is going to try and go by into the first corner, but Lawrence sticks the nose up the inside. Matthew Bowler with a new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 50.0. That's the first lap off a green flag run. It only goes to show that maybe he's got even more pace on board there in that ERT number 12.
Yeah, very impressive restart. Their first lap off it for Matthew Bowler. Extended his lead to just over 2 seconds now, but the battle on screen, Hayden Veld, Harry Lawrence, Matthew Bowler, Andrew Dyson now involved up into 10th spot. Fantastic recovery from Dyson. How much he was in the wars in race number 1, and now he's back into the top 10. And also Ryan Bettis, 27th to 13th here in race number 2. Fantastic drive for him.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from many drivers in this race as Corey Lazarus is fighting with the rear end coming to the middle section of the lap. He's looking for a chance to get back into the top 10 here, but Dyson has really geared it up now. He's got Lawrence and Boylett ahead of him and a nice gap up to Hayden Veld. So if Dyson can get past these two, he'll have some clear air to take advantage of. Peterson, excuse me, still chasing down Robbie Gibbs for second spot. Adam Hughes hasn't been left behind though, so you never know. Hughes might have something to say about this. And the gap for the lead is staying pretty consistent as news of a 5-second time penalty for Jake Santalucia. Contact with Jacob Lucas back on lap 2. Well, the battles continue regardless. Nobody really cares about that penalty except for Santalucia himself. And Gibbs has just lost second place to Ben Peterson, who's struggling to keep the rear end going there. He manages to get across the curb nicely. We don't often see that in these wet conditions. It seems like Peterson has put a lot of effort to making sure that his car is lovely and drivable in wet conditions.
Yeah, we'll see you on our Bowler Media replay on screen. Nice simple move down the inside from the exit of turn 15 into the entry of turn 16. Gets the move done as Dyson also wide as well. This is on screen. Bell for the lead in the Pro-Am category. Ryan Jones and Joshua Van Treek and Jacob Lucas right behind them as well. So a three-way battle for the Pro-Am class race lead. Currently held by Ryan Jones, but Jacob Lucas right there and Misano not far behind either. So potentially a four-way battle, and Adam Jepson in behind Simon Misano leading the M class. So battles all the way through the field, no matter where you're looking, Reese.
Yeah, and I think that safety car's really helped out Ryan Jones, because remember how we saw him spinning early on? Oh no! Ben Peterson trying to defend there from Robbie Gibbs, and Gibbs made a little bit of contact. Adam Hughes is back past into the podium place, and oh, that's bad news for Simon Mizomo. Remember the contact we saw between him and Thomas Hins? Well, Mizomo's gotten himself a 5-second time penalty for that one, and he's currently in 17th place. That would put him down behind Hins in 23rd place. So, a bit more to work out over the last few laps of this race. Matthew Bowler's lead has ballooned out to 3.5 seconds now. Peterson is finally clear of Hughes, Gibbs, Shepherd and Capel, so he might have a chance to have a run at Bowler in these last 5 laps.
Yeah, he certainly can, and that would really cap off this fantastic night for him, wouldn't it, if he could win the second race from 10th as well. As there's a little bit of contact there between Loris Bettis and Lazarus, all battling for just inside the top 10, apologies. 9th, 10th, 11th, Nick Carroll there as well. So 3 OPR cars and Harry Lawrence. So you feel a little bit gained up on at the moment as Ryan Bettis down the inside of Harry Lawrence. Big move, just gets it pulled up, but then he'll have the inside into turn 3. He'll cross him, run him a little bit wide. Fantastic move, Ryan Bettis. He is now up to position number 10 from 27th. What a race so far for the 033.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff from Ryan Bettis, but he's going to get passed by Harry Lawrence into the braking zone at turn 4. He manages to stick it round the outside, but there's no grip on the curb, and they make contact, and Bettis will have to try and find another way past. Still takes nothing away from the drive that he has had in this race. Still up 16 spots from where he started. Beautiful stuff. Behind him, Nick Carroll and Andrew Dyson are fighting hard, and this is Corey Lazarus up in 9th spot. He's chasing down Matthew Boylett. He's trying to catch back up to Hayden Veld, but Lazarus is having trouble putting the power down there out of the left-hander. Can he get it done up the inside is the question.
He's going to sit behind Boylett for now. In the background, Also, as Nick Carroll had a big off there at turn number 8, lost a few spots. He's now behind Ryan Jones, who is the race leader for the Pro M category, 13th overall, and Jacob Lucas now in the background has had an off as well.
Yeah, Lucas will fall behind Thomas Hinz and Greg Patrick as a result, and now finds himself right in a fight with Lee Keldulis as Robert Gibbs has fallen down another spot. Dylan Shepherd's made his way past into 4th, and I think that might have been Stuart Ellis who was stopped on track there, letting those guys go. Lazarus, meanwhile, up into 8th and making side-by-side contact with Matthew Boylett. Boylett tries to turn in, but Lazarus is right there. He runs deep and up the inside again. Will go Boylett as Lazarus loses it into the final corner. Good recovery, manages to keep him moving forward, but now he's going to fall back into the pack.
Yeah, for massive save for Corey Lazarus. He's had a pretty up and down night, a good qualifying. Unfortunately, had to start from the pit lane. Race one, really good recovery. This is on board Corey Lazarus, and you do not want to be on the AstroTurf and on the white lines in the wet. That is some fantastic car control for the 404 of Corey Lazarus, and even in front as well, Matthew Boiler stepping the car out sideways as well. So some fantastic car control from all these drivers involved. Keep it on the track. We haven't really seen too many offs whatsoever. Some fantastic racing as well.
Yeah, this battle's been going on for a while as well. Gibbs trying desperately to hold on to a position in the top 4. Adam Hughes gets up the inside of him and manages to pull it up at the apex, but Gibbs will try and straighten the run out. Here comes Hayden Veld, up 5 positions. He's going to try and get himself and Lachlan Capel up closer to their teammate Matthew Bowler, who's still in the lead by over 3 seconds. This battle has been amazing. Gibbs has been slicing and dicing with Hughes and Shepherd over the course of the previous lap. This battle for 3rd, well, Dylan Shepherd winning it clearly for the time being. We're only going to have 3 laps to go when these guys get across the line as the 22 loses it over the curb, and Robbie Gibbs will get back past him, back into 4th place. But man, Gibbs is having a tough time here. He's been struggling.
Yeah, he has been struggling a little bit. Robbie Gibbs had some really good pace at the start of the race, but it looks like he's just fallen off, and they lost a bit of confidence, lost a bit of tyre wear potentially. These guys are doing all they can to hang on to these cars and keep them on the tarmac. It's Harrison Lillis. Massive contact for him. Number 50 Orbit drop bed car. Will he be stuck there? Will this be potentially another safety car? It's very late in the piece. I don't think we'll get one. We'll see if he can keep it going. I don't think he is moving at the moment, so he could be very well done, but I assume they'll clear him to tow because so late in this race.
Yeah, he was just out over the green-painted concrete, no grip out there. He just aquaplaned his way into the tyre barrier, and off goes the rear wing. He's all the way out in the gravel trap, and we only have 3 laps remaining in the race, so a safety car would mean that we'd finish under safety car, and he's already towed back to the pits, so we stay green for the time being. Well, the fight continues here. Dylan Shepherd, well, this time last lap we thought, he's way out in the lead there in 3rd spot. He'll have no pressure, but it looks like Gibbs has gotten it back together, and he's continued charging away. Speaking of charging, well, Matthew Bowler continuing to draw this lead out, but it's fallen back under 3 seconds. Looks like Ben Peterson has managed to gain a few tenths. I don't know if it's going to be enough for him to go for the win, though.
No, I don't think Ben Pearson's quite good enough to challenge Matthew. Well, I could be wrong. He's brought it down the last time round. It was 3.1. It's down to about 2.5 roughly, so it's going to be close. And Nick Carroll! Big off for Nick Carroll. That's going to be in the fence.
And Dyson off too. Oh, dear. Oh, another car off too. That's Misano. Oh, no. Well, Mazomo, already with a 5-second time penalty hanging over his head, is likely going to finish right at the very back thanks to that. Goodness, it's all going off here in the last few laps.
Well, at least on Mazomo's end, he's on the same as what Harrison Lillis did, just got on the green AstroTurf. There's absolutely no grip out there, so, man, these guys are just going off. And, oh no, Adam Hughes is off as well at turn 1 race.
Oh no, Hughes falling back outside the top 10. That's what happened to Mazomo. Tap to the front, and well, it was a pretty square on hit to the front bumper. I don't think the suspension would have had anything happen to it, but Adam Hughes now back to 12th place, and looked like a pretty big incident for him too. He was fighting with Hayden Veld on the way into turn 1, and I think he might have just missed the braking point a little bit, maybe, but definitely caught the white line at the edge of the circuit, and that's one of the slipperiest places out there in wet conditions. So, man, the OPR cars, if you're not Dylan Shepherd, have had a pretty big problem so far in this race. Dan Mirko, meanwhile, iRacing black flag. He's exceeded the incident limit, so that's another car with...
Veld.
Oh, Veld. He goes wide there, and that's going to let Lachlan Capel pass for 5th spot.
Yeah, Veld ended up nearly in the MotoGP penalty lane. He was that far wide at turn number 9 and 10. Also, just lose the 1 spot to his teammate Capel. But speaking of teammates, ERT's Matthew Bowler, the lead is cut down just a little bit between him and Ben Peterson, but he's now coming up to the white flag, I believe. Matthew Bowler, final corner. He's going to get the white flag from the 2 Barneys on the front straight. 1 more lap to go. 4.2 kilometres remaining for the number 12 of Bowler to take race number 2 victory here tonight.
Yeah, good drive from Matthew Bowler, starting on pole, and has held on to that first position all race long, but we'll see what Ben Peterson can do to try and catch him up here. The gap is just ebbing and flowing right now. Peterson's searching everywhere he can for grip, and wow, I mean, the car control that we've seen from drivers at the front of this field is nothing short of magnificent. Peterson just... magnificent throttle control through these corners. This acceleration zone out of turn 5 is one of the hardest to get right on the entire circuit. Basically got to accelerate all the way through there, and in wet conditions, so hard to keep the balance of the car. But it looks like Peterson's making it look easy there, to say nothing of Bowler, who still leads by over 2 seconds. But we have the most treacherous part of the circuit coming up for those guys. The battle is still on for 6th place. Hayden Veld trying to hold on to it. Remember, he ran wide almost at the location they're coming to on the last lap. He's going to run wide on the exit here, and Lazarus tries to put the power down, and spinning behind is Ryan Bettis. One of the best runs in the entire field comes to a near end, but Bettis will still be happy with this big, Gibbs spins as well, as Veld has gotten a black flag for the incident limit. He's going to be demoted all the way down through the field as a result of that. But into the final few corners comes Matthew Bowler. It has been a dramatic night of racing in the AOG Porsche Cup, Season 9, Round 4. With some brilliant racing all the way through. There's further problems for Gibbs and Lazarus. They both go off in the gravel trap at the end. Matthew Bowler is going to cross the line to win race 2 here. But behind him, Ben Peterson, a 1st and a 2nd tonight. He is your round winner here at Misano.
Yeah, fantastic job for Ben Peterson. Robbie Gibbs went off in a massive way. He's
beached through.
He's beached as for Robbie Gibbs. Massive contact. Went off again on the green AstroTurf on the run through 11 and 12. Caught out about 6 or 7 guys here tonight. It's absolutely crazy. Ryan Jones, meanwhile, he'll take the race win for the Pro-Am class. Adam Jepson will take out the AM class victory for race number 2. From my quick maths race, I believe we'll have Ben Peterson, Joshua Van Treek and Adam Jepson as our round winners, but I'm sure we'll be getting that confirmed in just a moment.
Andrew Dyson, meanwhile, has become the next driver to exceed the incident limit and get a black flag. Gibbs is going to try and get it turned around here, but man, big drivetrain problems as Bowler celebrates his race 2 victory there. And you'd argue with the pace that Bowler had in qualifying, he should have been right up there in race 1 as well. But he will miss out on that round victory. I'm amazed that they're actually still able to leave rubber tracks there on the runoff area in these wet conditions. Hayden Veld celebrating the end of a torrid final race for him, at least how it ended. But man, what a night it has been in the AOG Porsche Cup here at Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, our race results here from race 2. Bowler by 2.5 seconds over Peterson. Shepherd will complete the podium. Really good run from Dylan Shepherd in race 2. Lachlan Capel will make it back into the top 10 and the top 5 with a 4th place finish. Matthew Boylett getting 5th spot. Good drive from him. Harry Lawrence recovering back to 6th spot after losing ground early on. Ryan Jones takes the Pro-Am class win, but Joshua Van Treek with a 1st and a 2nd in Pro-Am is your Pro-Am round winner. Adam Hughes rounding out the top 10.
And after that, it is Ryan Bettis in 11th, Jake Santalucia, Adam Jepson 13th overall, and leading the AM class is a fantastic effort for the 525. Thomas Hinton, Corey Lazarus, they had races to forget there in race number 2. Jacob Lucas, Simon Mazzomo 16th and 17th. Dean Jacobson 18th. Andrew Dyson in 19th, and Nick Carroll rounding out the top 20.
In 21st place, Robert Gibbs. It all went wrong for him on the final lap there. He would have had a top 10 for sure. Well, we'll see how it works out for him in future rounds. Greg Patrick driving a consistent race to finish in 22nd place. Big problems for Andrew Dyson. Black flag right at the end. Lee Kildulis will come across the line behind him. And well, we'll move our way through to Stuart Ellis, Tyson Broad, Sam Sproul, Ben Jeffrey, all of those drivers having massive issues over the course of this night of racing. Well, that's going to conclude the racing portion of the night. We're going to have a chat to Ben Peterson, who's our round winner here in the pro class. Really good drive from you, Ben. It all started at the end of qualifying, though, timing that lap perfectly as the track was drying out.
Yeah, no, I think the strategy definitely paid off. I'm pretty sure there was only a couple of guys on the dries anyway. I was surprised, actually, because, you know, a lot of us have done a few endurances where you sort of know that a lightly wet track that's been dry for a while generally means you can use slicks, but nah, look, I think I was surprised. I was very surprised because there's a lot of fast guys here, and yeah, I think that was the only way I was going to win.
Yeah, we were very surprised too that the dry tyres were holding on as well as they were in race 1, but it's certainly difficult in race 2. Again, it all came down to the start, making up those crucial positions in the opening corners of the first lap, putting you on course for second there, and from there on it was a matter of survival.
Yeah, pretty much. Bowler had quite a long lead too, which was made it a bit difficult to try and get him, but yeah, look. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still in the sim. Let me get out of it.
All good. No worries. But yeah, an excellent drive from you there in the very wet race 2. Obviously, the track being a lot wetter in that second race made things much more challenging. But I think throttle control was probably the most important aspect of driving around the track in race 2.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you got to get the car turned with throttle, but it's like a balancing act. Because obviously, if you get too much throttle, you're going to spin the car. But yeah, it makes it interesting. I certainly like the wet, always have. It was a bit dicey though in race 1. The last 3 or 4 laps with the slicks were becoming a bit of a handful.
Yeah.
But, yeah, race 2, that was good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, in 2 weeks' time, we move to the Red Bull Ring for the 5th round of the season. So a track that's pretty much the polar opposite of Misano. It's got heavy braking zones, long straights. It's going to be all about the slipstream and staying off those harsh curbs.
Yeah, look, I'm going to call it. I'm going to be mid-pack for that one. I'm terrible at that track.
Oh, you never know. We might end up seeing more rain there, and we might see you on top again.
Yeah, look, is rain forecasted though? I thought it was every second race that would sort of get in the rain, or is it just random?
Righto, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't quite clear on that.
That's all good.
All right, fair enough.
I'll just turn up for fun.
All right, well, hopefully we get a chance to talk to you anyway, Ben. Congratulations once more. And is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, like my family for one, for putting up with me on the sim all the time, and obviously Full Send Racing for taking me on board. So they've been good.
Excellent stuff. That was Ben Peterson there, winner of the round in the Pro class. Meanwhile, Brady, in the Pro-Am class, Joshua Van Treek was the one to get the result.
Joshua, first of all, congratulations, your Pro-Am class victory for the round. Tell us about that first race to start off. 20th to 7th on the dry tyre in some very ordinary conditions. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was shocked myself, to be honest. I don't know how many people were on dries and how many were wets, but I was just seemed to be quicker than a lot of the people that I started around. So I was stuck behind a couple of people for the first few laps. I was finding my feet, and then all of a sudden I just clicked, and yeah, I was just passing everyone left, right, and center, and got myself up to 7th. So yeah, that set me in good stead for race 2, and set me up for a down to a round victory, and I managed to keep it straight in the second race. So yeah, very happy.
Yeah, an 8th place result in race number 2. Obviously, securing that round victory. Very different conditions for race number 2. Everyone on the wet tyre. There was no disputing that. What was the biggest challenge for you in that second race with torrential downpour they were experiencing tonight?
The first lap, I almost absolutely binned it going through that really fast back straight, but I managed to keep a hold of it and keep it straight. And yeah, just sort of tucked in behind people and waited for others to make mistakes. And yeah, I managed to get some free spots there and got myself back into the top 10. So yeah, overall really happy with the night, considering coming to the round I didn't think I was going to perform too great. I wasn't too quick in the practice sessions than previous nights, so had low expectations, but yeah, completely flipped tonight. So it was good.
Yeah, 100%. That last sector was catching a lot of people out in race number 2 if you got on that green AstroTurf. It was a good night for those drivers, but unfortunately for you, you stayed on the black stuff and secured a fantastic result through both the races. In 2 weeks, we head to the Red Bull Ring. We'll be back on the dry tyres, dry track. What are your expectations heading into that race in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that track. It's an off track, one of the really heavily off track, so just keeping on in the lines there, and yeah, see how we go. Looking forward to it being dry, a bit over the wet, but yeah, see how we go.
Lastly, congratulations once again on your round win here tonight, Josh. Before they go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Thank everyone at Crispy Motorsports and Wayne Paints for sponsoring the car too, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting tonight as well.
Thank you, Josh, and hopefully we can talk to you again in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome, thank you.
Joshua Van Dreek there, our Pro-Am class winner, and Reece, I believe you've caught up with our Am class winner for Misano here tonight, Adam Jepson.
Yeah, fantastic race too for you there, Adam, getting 12th overall after the post-race penalties were applied for drivers exceeding the incident limit. Another good round for you. Certainly wouldn't have come easy with the conditions being as treacherous as they were.
No, there was definitely a little luck on this behalf. I didn't get speared when my teammate behind me did, so that's just the luck of the draw.
Yeah, it seemed that way at a track like Misano. How did you find it? Because this can be a bit of a polarizing track at times. Very technical and reasonably low speed, but certainly treacherous in the back section in the wet.
Yeah, I don't actually mind this track. It's a bit testing when you go through those fast sort of sweepers. It's got a couple of good combinations, so it isn't too bad. The wet definitely in the last couple of corners, trying to get the front to grip and then to get the rear to grip at the same time was a challenge, but it was fun overall.
Yeah, well, another round win on the cards for you here for the Am class, and next round, of course, we go to the Red Bull Ring, and then the next wet round is at Mid-Ohio in a month's time, so 2 very different tracks up on the cards next.
Yeah, it should be an interesting couple of rounds. Red Bull Ring, I've turned a couple of laps at least, I can say. Mid-Ohio, I'm yet to break track, so I might do some practice before that one.
All right, well, we congratulate you on your win, Adam, and best of luck with your practice for the next rounds. Anyone you want to thank?
Just the boys at the Blue Belt team and all you guys for putting on a good race.
Thanks very much, Adam Jepson there, Am class round winner for the round here at Misano. But of course, Brady, next round is the Red Bull Ring in 2 weeks' time. Mark that date down in your calendar. It's going to be dry once again, as was pointed out to me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to some high-speed action here.
Yeah, so am I. Unfortunately, I won't be around for this race 3, so I'll be turning some wrenches on a real race car at a practice night on a Tuesday, which is a bit random, but unfortunately I won't be joining you for that one, but I'll be back for round number 6 and looking forward to doing the rest of the season with you, but I'll definitely be checking this one out after the fact. I'm sure it's going to be some fantastic racing, like you touched on with our winners. It's going to be very slipstream heavy, this track. It is in the V8 Supercar that I've experienced, so I'm sure it'll be exactly the same in the Porsche Cup car, and I think it'll provide some fantastic racing.
Yeah, certainly will. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us here for AOG Porsche Cup Season 9, Round 4, Round 3, of course, at Manicourt, null and void after the previous difficulties that were faced at that round. But we should have a fantastic rest of the season coming up. Big thanks to Bowler Media and Worm Paints, the season partners for AOG Porsche Cup. Great stuff from the both of yous. And to the crew at AOG themselves for putting this series on in the first place. I'm Reese Gardner, Brady Baldwin with me in the comms box, and Jay Kennedy behind the scenes here on SimSpeed TV. We'll catch you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Thank you.